I want to talk about your books for a little while. I think the first book you wrote was about
Jimmy Young.
Jimmy Young, right?
Dirty 30.
Dirty 30. Where did he get that name from?
Well, that was his nickname.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't have written the book if he didn't have the nickname.
Is that right?
Because I knew, he phoned up and said, "Do you want to write a book?" And I said no. And he said, "Well, the publisher wants me to write it, and I won't do it unless you do it." And I learned about books. The publisher said, "You have to give me a list of chapter titles."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I haven't started writing the book. I don't know." And he said, "Well, we have to have it." I said, "Well, what for?" He said, "To pin to the worksheet so we can check them off as they're completed." I said, "Aha." And he said, "Of course, they don't have to be the ones you're actually going to use." Really?
Uh-huh.
So I sat down, I said, "Call me back in 10 minutes.
Right.
And I sat down and wrote 16 of the craziest chapter titles I could think of.
Uh-huh.
I knew there would be a dope chapter. For instance, I wrote one of The Grass is Always Greener. I knew there was going to be a curfew breaking, turn left at the Begonias, the Great Alligator Shoe Chase. And as it turned out, we used all of them. But I was so excited about writing Dirty 30, which was a lot of fun
Uh-huh.
with Jimmy. I was so excited about that I didn't write another book for 10 years.
Right.
Then I wrote 3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Yeah.
Jeez. You don't like stacking the deck against yourself, do you?
I write better when there's a lot to do. I'm very, as I say, I get up in the morning at 5 to 6 and listen to the sportscast. I have to have 3 radio shows done by 7:15. I could write them the night before.
Right.
But they'd be no good.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't be quite as timely, and I need the adrenaline. I need the little panic switch that turns on. There's a little trash masher in the back of your head. You get into a groove. I would rather write 6 columns than 5. If you're listening, Bob McMurray, that would mean more money, though.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You're not a workaholic, are you?
I've often wondered, but I don't think so, because a lot of things I'm lazy about. I just like to sit down in front of that machine and make the language work.
Right.
That's really what I do.
You make it work so beautifully. I can't. Every time I read it, I have to laugh. It's just, it goes from being just so very funny to hilarious. And has that always been part of your style? I haven't seen any stuff from the 60s. Though.
It's always something that I've wanted to do. It was just a natural way that I've worked on it. I mean, but I've always thought if you're going to write sports, well, the first thing you have to understand is they're not doing brain surgery. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, if the Lions don't win, it is going to be too bad.
Right, but the Earth won't stand still.
The Earth won't stand still, and if a guy in the hospital doing a brain operation makes a small slip, that's serious.
Right.
I was blessed with very good editors, very good teachers. The columnist was just the right size because it was a morning paper which gave you the deadline, but it was small enough that you had people who would take you aside and show. The first byline I ever had, I wrote a story 14 times.
Really?
And it was just a dumb little senior A softball story with about 6 or 8 paragraphs in it that anybody else could have knocked off in 5 minutes, and they just kept handing it back and handing it back. And I got madder and madder and madder, and I stayed after work. I was going to quit.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, why?" And they said, "Because we think you can be very good. We're not letting you out of here until you do the best you can." And after that, that's fine. They let me. They would understand before I did when I was getting too preoccupied with what these clowns were doing chasing this ball. So they'd yank me out and they'd do city side for 6 weeks, or they'd make me the backup guy in the legislature. One summer they just said, "Go out and write funny stuff." So they had the patience and had the faith.
Right.
And this is the thing that I like about the province, and at the Sun too, because I didn't leave the Sun with any bad feeling. It was just an economic move. I've never had anybody say you can't write that. And I mean, I do some reasonably oddball things from time to time. I don't know too many people who write a column that says, "No sports today, the Lone Ranger is going to kiss a girl." Because I was getting worried about what's happening in the comic strips, or review Cats. I mean, it's a sports page column.
Right, right.
But they let me do it, and it seems to work.